We have an exciting show talking about different things. Obviously, there's quarantine and COVID-19 happening. That's a big deal for all of us right now. But Mike and Barbara, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me. It's been a busy week and stuff. We've been quarantining and trying to get back to normal the best we can, and it's been quite challenging with the kids home and stuff. But we're just trying to support local business and help our customers out, and try to make things happen here in the mortgage and real estate part of the world. And how are you, Barbara?
Same. Business is picking up, of course, and definitely trying to support the local businesses around us, whether it's work related or personal. My Armstrong Gardens just loves us because we're doing a lot of gardening and a lot of biking. So yeah, a lot of outdoor things.
I noticed that a lot of people are doing gardening, and it's like a lot of good side effects to this. I feel like a lot of people are walking more than I normally see, and a lot of gardening, like we mentioned earlier. What else are you seeing that maybe having a positive side effect to all this?
I can't tell you how many people are out biking and, like you said, running and working out because there's no gym, or they weren't working out before, and now with all this time, they're all getting in shape.
That's me. Yeah, my wife and I have been working out almost every day now, and so it's we don't have a gym, so we ordered those rubber bands, those workout rubber bands, and so we're getting creative and doing our best.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Yeah, those resistance bands are really awesome.
Yes, those help a lot. I ride about 10 miles a day, and I thought I would never get up to that, so that's good for me.
Well, how are you managing, staying at home, riding your bike, and helping all your clients at the same time? I mean,
with the new now, I think the market is changing for everybody in more of a personal way. I have buyers that are now not just only looking at, the interest rates and trying to get, that best buy on a home. They're looking to their financial planners who are advising them, you should be going to this price point and using maybe this much more cash. It's more advantageous than taking a jumbo loan. So if you're in a position like that, it's really good to, pick something up on the conventional loan side. And my investors are picking up a lot of product right now.
Yeah, it's real neat to see a lot of that activity. Like you mentioned, customers are hesitant about entertaining a jumbo loan. And with this whole COVID and the CARES Act that's come out, jumbo loan customers don't have any protections if something were to go wrong for them financially in the future. And so the conventional loan, giving them the option for the emergency forbearance if needed, makes people feel a little bit safer about moving forward with the conventional.
Yes.
And we've been splitting up the debt. If someone needs $1 million loan, what we've been doing is we've been giving them a $700,000 first mortgage and then a $300,000 second mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
And although the second mortgage is a home equity line of credit where it's adjustable, it's interest only for the first 10 years. So it gives customers a little bit of cash flow. But because it is based off of a simple interest payment, the more they pay down the balance, the lower the payment goes the following month. So it's an incentive to actually try to pay down that HELOC as fast as they can.
I have quite a few of my clients working with Myco right now, and I'm just so comfortable with it because they keep requalifying for the loan, David, which is really important right now. Just to be on it, because a house will come on the market and you'll get 6 offers right away. And I think in San Diego, we're a unique area. Everybody wants to live in San Diego and stay in San Diego if they can. And the prices are not dropping. So they know that they have to be ready. They have to be on the ball, and they have to have the confidence in their lender. And I always have that in San Diego funding.
Nice. That's awesome. No, I know you. We talked a little offline about that, Mike. You're working with some of Barbara's, buyers. my first question, I guess, for Barbara, and then we can kind of talk about what we're doing, what you're doing on the financial side, Mike. But Barbara, why are people still buying right now? I mean, a lot of times people think, oh, everything has stopped, but then there's all this other activity where people are still buying, people are still moving, people are still working. Why are people still buying?
Well, people are still buying because they still need homes. I mean, it's like I said, I think San Diego is a very unique market. When you're hearing the reports about the housing market throughout the country, I think we're standing firm. And I have clients that are coming in from out of state, where before we were having sellers that were selling and leaving the state. Now they're selling and buying, whether they're downsizing or upsizing. And actually, there's buyers whose children have come home from college and now have to live with them for a while. So they've downsized and they're like, we don't fit in here. So they're purchasing bigger homes. So I'm thinking that, the new now is creating a new buy for many people in many different ways.
And would you say that's like a specific price point, or is that kind of across the board in San Diego?
I wouldn't say that's across the board. I think in the 1.5 range, there's a lot of movement. Whereas, maybe about a month and a half ago, it was the $500,000 to $700,000 market.
Okay.
And of course, once you jump up at that to 2 to 3, those clients are going to do what they want for themselves. What's best for them. We're still seeing buys in the ranch, sells in the ranch, and then they're buying at the beach.
Got it. Mm-hmm. Got it. So they're moving coastal if they are typically downsizing?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, right now people are thinking about, what their floor plan's like in their home. I mean, they've been home for 2 months.
Yeah.
Maybe a 2-bedroom condo for their family might not be the best, because before they probably used to say, let's go to the pool, let's go to the park, let's go to the beach. And now people are saying, gee, we can't go anywhere. So, and like Barbara said, college kids are coming home to finish their degrees online. So it seems that the need of what their real estate needs are evolving and changing.
Yeah,
and
Mike.
Go ahead. I was going to say renters, realize that, their home is important too. So many renters and apartment complexes and so forth might not be feeling like they're getting the support that they need to, live there safely and comfortably. But when you own your property, it's your property, your keys, your tax benefits, your federal benefits. There's something behind that. And I think that's becoming more apparent as we've been progressing through this quarantine too.
Yeah, I agree with that, and there's a lot of renters now that have been waiting to buy, and they can work remotely now. And a lot more people are being afforded that opportunity to work remotely, and they are looking to purchase now wherever they wanted to, as opposed to, wow, this is a great job, I'm going to stay in this area. Now they can come, they're moving to San Diego and working remotely and maybe checking in once a month. But many companies aren't even having them check in, we can't right now.
Yeah. And so would you say that the consumer behavior, I mean, well, maybe that's not the right word, but the buyers have still somewhat of a challenge when it comes to buying, right? Because you're competing still against, multiple offers.
Yes, you have. That's what I stepped on a little earlier in the conversation. You have to be ready, and you can't have just qualified for a loan and haven't bought something in 6 months. You have to keep touching in with your lender, requalifying, because things are changing. And with some people, with one spouse not working now, their DTI has changed. They're using a little bit more of their credit cards, or they're tipping in a little more to their savings. So it's a constant moving ball.
Yeah, and then Mike, you're constantly re-qualifying them, reapproving them. Like, at what's the frequency of that? Are you touching base with them every week? Like, what does that look like for? And I'm just trying to paint the picture for somebody who's watching or listening. Like, what's it look like to get in the game right now?
So This past weekend, I was introduced to a customer on Sunday, and we started the application process on Sunday. And by the middle of the day, they were fully pre-approved, ready to close for 21 days. And they needed to close faster than normal because the agent communicated that there were multiple offers on the particular house that they're looking for out in Poway. So, I'm able to take that package of data that they uploaded to my server, same day, issue a pre-approval, and then ready to basically rock and roll and move forward from there on Monday if they get their offer accepted. Customers that I pre-approved 3 months, 4 months ago, 2 months ago, I am reaching out to them and asking them to communicate with me any material changes since we took their application. Some customers have received small pay cuts, 10% pay reduction. Well, that unfortunately that could be a lot in the San Diego real estate market. Some customers went from salary to hourly in efforts of maintaining their employment. The entire company put everybody on hourly, even if it was for 60 days. They put all their employees on hourly just to cut down on expenses for a little bit. Well, when that happens, that starts the qualification process all over again. And one particular case, the customer needed to be hourly for 3 months before we can issue an approval. Fortunately, the employee talked to his employer, and then they put him back on salary, so we're able to do the loan right away. But lots of little changes are happening in our clients' financial picture because of COVID, and then on top of it, because of COVID, the lending world has been changing a lot too. They've increased their monthly reserve requirements. So one of the guidelines that we have to work with is what's called post-closing liquidity, meaning how much money you have left over in the bank after close of escrow. And some of these requirements went from 2 months to 6 months just because of COVID and the fear of borrowers losing their job. They want to make sure that they have a couple dollars in the bank left over after close of escrow. So we're having to manage those types of changes. We're needing more clear letters of explanation from our borrowers. And now we're verifying employment all the way up until the day we fund the loan. Yeah. So in order to get the loan approved, we verify employment. And then the day we fund the loan, we're calling the supervisors just to make sure that they're still working there, because a lot of things are happening very quickly and are unannounced. So the banks are definitely wanting us to audit everything very carefully right now.
Yeah, and buyers are really looking at video. We're doing video right now, but they really are. Like, I will send them to the neighborhood they're looking at, and then they'll come back and we will be on the phone looking at the videos together and pausing it and saying, well, look out this window. This is what you see there. I mean, really important to have good video going on. They're driving by neighborhoods even more now than before at different times of the day to see what they're there. And I'll have the last 2 buyers have said, I really think this is the house. So let's go ahead now and go inside it. Because, there's always that little anticipation of having to go in with your booties and your mask and everything. And, she walked in and said, yes, I'm right. This is it. So they pretty much know before they go in because of all of the research that we're doing and showing them and sending them floor plans on homes.
And so you're talking about watching video. I mean, in photo, video, Matterport. I'm sure all those things are super important right now.
Definitely.
How are your listings staying competitive, and how are your offers staying competitive? I'm sure you're working with Mike. You guys kind of do that in tandem, where you create an offer that's much more appealing.
Mm-hmm. As far as the listings going up.
So we'll just do and say we were submitting an offer for one of your buyers.
Okay.
And there's multiple offers. How are you staying competitive in that environment?
Well, without giving away my secret sauce.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Now, come on now. My offers are getting accepted. So I actually go through the offer with Michael, and I'm like, this is ultimately their decision. I like you to offer them a few things. I actually get down to this is their personality, this is their thought process, and then I set up that phone call, and then I hand it over to Michael, and then Michael
right. Okay.
And then I'll pre-approve them, and I'll give them a spreadsheet of different payment options, 20% down, 15% down, points versus no points, and run the analysis. And then as Barbara submits the offer to the listing agent, I'll call a listing agent as representative of the buyer, as the lender, to let them know how far along we are in the process and how ready we are to fund the loan. I like working at San Diego Funding because I am in the hot seat. If I was working for a big bank and I was getting a bad news phone call, or I had to make a tough call, those we can just disappear and dodge those for a few days, or call in sick or something like that. But here at San Diego Funding, I'm in the hot seat, and I have the leverage of the owners of the company to make sure that we can expedite these loans and prioritize them the best we can, to make sure that our buyer gets the offer versus somebody else. And that helps Barbara become more successful in her business, because now she's able to win those offers and make her clients very happy.
Now, is there, since we were talking about the $1.5 billion range, is there, a preferred, at one point when I was, at least, I don't know how long ago, but you always have like the tiers, right? So a cash offer might be more appealing because you can close quicker, or a conventional offer versus, let's say, an FHA might be more appealing. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I've heard from time to time. Has that changed? What is more attractive to a seller right now?
Well, it used to be cash king, and they always thought, well, I'm in the control seat because I'm bringing cash. Whether the seller receives cash for their loan or cash from the lender, they're going to be getting paid. It's really how you structure the deal, how you structure contingencies, the strength of the buyer, because it was for a while where cash buyers were putting in multiple loans on multiple homes, and then the sellers were kind of getting gun shy with that, because they were just trying to see which deal that they could get the best for themselves and then pull out of the offer. So I really think it's showing the seller the strength of the buyer and knowing that it's going to fund. A lot of that can be done on, down payment, how Michael structures the loan, how he actually communicates to the seller's agent, and that's actually won me deals.
Nice. So clarify that. So, Mike taking the initiative, talking to the seller's agent, making sure they're aware of what's going on, the details of the loan, the structure of the loan, the strength of the buyer.
Yeah, he's communicating to them that what we're presenting is real.
Nice.
As far as the strength.
And Mike, do you feel like you're going to need pushback on that, or what's your experience with that? And obviously, even if you did get pushback, you're going to keep doing it because it's beneficial for everybody. But what does that generally look like for you when you're doing that, when you're coming up against trying to communicate, just create transparency and be like, hey, this is our buyer and we can really knock this out of the park for you?
Yeah, listing agents have a difficult time figuring out the difference between Jane Doe and John Doe, and they get two offers, both at $1 million, both at 20% down, and all the agents are telling them they got the best buyer in the world. So
right.
If there's one little bump that we can give to our client's offer, it's that I call the listing agent to let them know that I have all the income and asset documents in hand, to let them know that we can start the loan process today. Not that we have to get the purchase contract and then make a request to the customer and hopefully the customer's documents show up in the next week. It's not an internet pre-approval, because the internet pre-approvals are very low in accuracy. So we're just trying to add, some more, what's the word? What's my pixie dust to this thing? We want to get some sparkle to the offer.
Yeah.
And when I believe that the listing agents have been grateful that I call. They're glad to hear that I'm involved and proactive in trying to get the job done, and that I'm supporting, Barbara's offers and standing behind that offer. When I call, the listing agent, I don't give the customer's personal information to the listing agent, but I already know what the contract says. I know what Barbara wrote. I'm involved. And so when the listing agent knows that I'm involved and ready to support and get the job done, it really does add value to the offer. And sometimes when our client's offer was a little bit less than somebody else's offer, because of Barbara and I's engagement with the listing agent, we got the acceptance.
Yeah,
That's
because
really
there's communication. I think a lot of that is communication. I mean, when you're the seller's agent and you're waiting to hear and you're not in that loop, you're like, wow, where's your confidence level? It's about here. But when you have somebody, the agent and their lender, their client's lender talking to them, it just increases tremendously, you know.
Now, Barbara, you have just a little backstory on you. How long you've been in the business, and what if you could share with us just a little bit about your
Well, I've
length.
been in the real estate business many years. But I did work with JP Morgan Chase for many years.
Okay.
So I have a very big mortgage history behind me and experience behind me. And I think that's why Michael and I work so well together, because I feel like I know the questions to ask him, and then I can keep my clients confident. And of course, being in the mortgage that long, you know the title, you know the escrow, you know how the procedures go. And worked with another company for a little bit, and then came over to Pacific Sotheby's, and have just loved it here. So very comfortable with the brand and where I am.
Nice. And I guess maybe that knowledge, that background of mortgage has enabled you to really appreciate the relationship with a lender, like Mike, who can deliver, who can give you that relationship that you need, because he's really an asset, to your overall buyer and seller experience, right?
Mm-hmm. He really is. And then, we all learn to read our clients' personalities. And every deal is different, and every expectation of a lender or an agent is different. But that's good how Michael and I bounce thing. I'm like, my client really is this kind of personality, just send the information and leave them alone, or, wow, this is more of a handheld person. Can you check in with them in the mornings, and they'll know that you're still, they're still a priority to you, and you're watching their rate for them. So that works really well with us. Or I can't get into too much on the loan side. Michael's like, hey, you're the agent, not the loan officer. Like DTIs or something. It'll look right. Yeah, we do that quite a bit. And
well, it's cool because it says a lot about Mike too, because coming from the industry, you're going to be more picky with who you team up with.
Oh yeah.
Because you know your stuff as well. So you can be like, no, that's not true. And so you already know, so that's cool. I mean, I think that's awesome. There's that accountability.
Yeah.
And then, but you can have somebody you rely on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, going back to a cash offer, my client lost out to a cash offer and really loved the home. And I just hounded that agent daily. And I kept telling Michael, keep moving forward, get an exception to keep moving this long. I don't know why, I just had that feeling. And he's like, sure. Okay. And of course, he got it from the higher ups, and they kept pushing that forward. Sure enough, like 14 days later, we get the call. They pulled their offer. And I'm like, we're good to go. Really, you just got to get the appraisal. And I wasn't his best friend for the next 7 days, but we did a appraisal.
We hustled it out.
That thing in, I think, 10 days, was it?
Yeah.
And, so you have to know, you have to have that trust factor with each other that, I'm asking for this big ask, to push forward a loan application on an unapproved offer. And we did it, and my client's really happy. He loves his house.
Nice. And how does having, Mike, you and Barbara, the relationship is advantageous for the buyer and the seller? How does it? We talked a little bit about how that can benefit the buyer. How does that benefit the seller, right? How are you able to come in, Mike, and add value in a different way for, let's say, Barbara's listings?
Well, when Barbara has a listing for sale, she's getting offers from Jane Doe and John Doe, and everybody thinks that they have the best buyer in the world. So my job is to kind of be bad cop on the inside. And when I do a cross qualification, I'm not trying to take the loan from the other lender. My job is just to proofread the lender's work to see if they actually are pre-approved and ready to start the loan process. And many loan officers are accustomed to this request, and I do it for our buyers on a regular basis. And we can kind of see very quickly who's ready, who's not. When Barbara makes a request for a cross qualification, and I get a secured link from the lender, and I'm able to look at the documents in 30 minutes and say, everything looks good, go for it. We know that they were really pre-approved. And then when the loan officer is requested this information, it takes a day or two to respond to a cross qual, then we kind of know what's going to be happening through this escrow process, and to really see if they actually were pre-approved or not. And it's just a second set of eyes on behalf of the seller to protect their investment. They're going to be getting movers. They're going to be paying. There's repairs that they probably will have to pay, and they have to plan for their next move if they're buying a new house or moving and so forth. There's a lot of moving parts, and at the end of the day, it falls onto the lender to close the escrow and close it on time. It's the not a very good feeling when you have pods in front of your house and they're not your pods, and nobody can get a hold of their lender,
right?
And they're a week late or something like that, and nobody. And the lender says, well, I'm not allowed to talk to anybody but the buyers, and the buyers don't know what questions to ask. So it can be a real slippery slope without the support of a good lender on behalf of the seller and on behalf of the buyer.
We used to call those mutual of Kenya. Can you actually fund this loan? So you want to go with a named lender.
Yes, that's awesome. Yeah, and so Barbara, can you kind of just piggyback off that a little bit? The benefit of having a lender participate in helping you sell your listings.
Oh, yeah, it's a tremendous asset. I mean, when you are on the seller side and you're using a lender that you can trust to cross qualify and look at that, because let's face it, there are a lot of first-time home buyers that are just trying to get the best deal, the best rate. And they're shopping on the internet. They don't know who this company is or who they're talking to, or if it's just a computer-generated answer. So we need that backup as a cross-qualification approval to say, you know what, we are your safety net. Qualify with us, you'll get the information. If you still are confident you want to stay with who you are, because like we said, we're not in the business of stealing somebody's loan. We're just in the business of getting deals done. And we have to reassure our sellers that, we've got that buyer qualified as well.
Nice. That's beautiful. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And I know, Michael, you had talked about you guys talking or sharing with us and our viewers and our listeners some listings that, Barbara, you have. Is that right?
Yeah, I actually have them coming soon, so we have to be very careful. I can't really share right now. I'd love to. One is a beautiful condominium, I can say that, in Carmel Valley. And then I have a larger property up north. I do have a listing way up north. It's a 96-acre beautiful ranch, its own water rights, amazing custom built. It's got gourmet kitchen, gourmet baker's kitchen, stables, frisbee golf course, you name it. So if anybody knows a company or a group of people that'd be interested in that, that's offered for $25 million. And I also have something up in Puget Sound that I've referred out that's going to be a gorgeous piece of property if anyone's interested in that as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, and so I know, Barbara, you had talked about referrals. Are you, and you're obviously with Pacific Sotheby's International Realty, have you, I'm just curious, have you used that, just the global network to refer out any of your current or past properties at all?
Absolutely. That $25 million listing, we referred to a local Sotheby's agent that is specific in that range of sales for that area, knows it intimately, how to price it intimately, and has that buyer base already with her and is familiar with putting the Forbes and international marketing out. So that was a real bonus for those sellers. The referral I did up into Puget Sound, another Sotheby's agent knows the area, very communicative with me so that I can, it's a friend that I referred it to. She's selling her house up there, even though she lives down here.
Nice.
And my other referral is actually on a purchase, and it's a Sotheby's agent up in Oregon. And she happened to already know my clients because when I was showing them homes to buy down here, she was the listing agent, and she's since then moved out of the state. So we're keeping it all in the Sotheby's network, and you get to know the people in these different areas, and it makes a tremendous difference.
Yeah, that's cool. I know. The reason I brought that up is because I know that that's a big thing for a lot of agents. Being able to refer out within the Sotheby's brand and keep that keep that consistency for the seller or the buyer.
Mm-hmm. And for us, we have such a great system, without getting all technical and everything, within our referrals, that you get internet updates and that. So it's really nice. You can keep your client updated as well.
So Barbara, as we wrap this up, tell me, where's your favorite place to ride your bike here in San Diego?
Well, I just actually started riding on the streets, and I've always been afraid to do that. And I actually start in Del Mar by the Brigantine, and I go up into Encinitas over by D Street in that. And I love the coast. I love seeing the ocean and getting the breezes. And, with the new bike lanes they have, it's a lot more comfortable. Haven't done any mountain biking yet.
That's living the life right there. Gotta love it.
Gotta love it. Yeah, it's beautiful out.
And so you're in Del Mar?
Yes.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's a good bike ride from Brigantine to D Street, you said?
Yeah, it's 10 miles, and there's a couple good hills in there.
Yeah.
I'm starting to attack them though, so I'm like, okay, I'm getting stronger. And then my son's threatening to take me out on some really easy mountain biking because I have a crossbike from when I lived in Denver. But I'm like, nah, I'm okay here.
So I have a question, something a little bit mindset oriented. Like, I love to hear kind of like where your mindset is right now with what's been going on. How have you been able to, overcome some potential, it was like a month or so of uncertainty. Obviously we're still in uncertainty, so it's not like officially over, but how have you been able to maneuver through this time and also be a guide, an advisor to your clients?
Well, you hate to use the adage, but it is true. Knowledge is power. And been reading a lot of stats on the market, a lot of stats on COVID, because depending on what you're reading or what you're hearing, you're always getting a different answer. But reassuring our clients that we have such good safety measures in place and that we're keeping an eye on the market for buyers, definitely what's going on, and keeping the communication open, keeping the reports going to them has really made a big difference. And not just, on a business level. These are my friends. My clients end up being my friends. They're like family to me. So I'm always checking in, make sure they're okay, that they don't need anything. From a seller's standpoint, now's the time. Put your home on the market. This is the spring, when everybody wants to move. I mean, it's starting to pick up because people, I don't want to say are over it, but they're kind of over being stuck in their homes, like Michael said, and they're realizing maybe this isn't the perfect fit in the home that they are now, and they're ready to move, and they're moving in anticipation of their children making new friends in hopes that the new school year is actually going to open in time.
Yeah. And I imagine that's different for everybody, right? Yeah. So even with your calls, you're still having to make those calls, tailored to each client. So that's got to be, you've probably put in a lot of hours, a lot of exhausting hours connecting with your clients, right? Because there's an emotional exhaustion with that. You have to exhaust yourself of, like you're giving and you're also receiving energy. Maybe they're venting to you, or maybe they're frustrations, right?
Yeah. I have one client with 5 kids. I'm like, how's your home working out for you?
9 kids?
How's that doing? She's like, because they don't have any people coming in to help anymore in that. And she's like, yeah. So I'm constantly sending her new hiking trails to burn off their little energy. But yeah, you do. People think that we're home and we're not working, and I find myself working quite a bit more.
Yeah, I hear you, Mike. You probably too. You're probably working overtime.
Well, the first month of this COVID, I called every past client and just educated them on their options. Everybody had no idea how long this was going to last, this COVID thing. And so the CARES Act came out, and I wanted to make sure everybody knew what it said about and how their credit scores are going to be affected, what their mortgage payment options were going to be. There's just a lot of misinformation out there, and as this CARES Act has rolled out, it's evolved and it's changed. So I have to go back again and tell the customers to call their loan servicers and just educate themselves so they're not getting themselves into trouble down the road. And so we've had to pre-approve buyers multiple times just because the guidelines have changed a little bit, and the jumbo loan market has kind of shrunk dramatically. The bank statement loan program went away for a month and a half, so there was just a lot of scary things there. We had one customer in escrow on a bank statement loan, and eventually the lenders all shut down, and so he was in escrow for 7 weeks, 8 weeks, waiting for the bank statement loan to come back. Fortunately, we were able to close them out eventually, and we just got to keep on our toes and keep helping the customers. That's what our passion's about, and our commitment is just to help them. And if we can't do a loan for them today, we'll help educate them on what they need to do so we can get their loan approved, hopefully tomorrow. Nice. With regards to this COVID, minimum credit scores went up. They went up maybe 20, 40 points, depending on what program it is. So some customers that were pre-approved before COVID are absolutely not pre-approved in COVID. And so we've been doing a lot of credit restoration, credit repair, to helping them get the scores that they need so they can actually get a loan. So it's been a lot of extra work, talking to the old clients, helping people get approved for today. And there's a lot of activity out there. So we're very happy to be working.
Yeah.
To say the least,
Yeah. Feel very blessed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Likewise. Well, I feel very blessed having you guys both on the show today. Mike, thanks for being a co-host again. Really appreciate you coming in, adding a lot of insight, and obviously bringing Barbara on so we can hear about her insight as well, her listings, and really appreciate the authenticity, Barbara. I think you're such a natural on camera.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you both for being on. And Barbara, what's a good place for somebody who's watching or listening? Like, what's a good place so they can go visit, so that way they can connect with you?
They can go to my website, barbarasellsnorthcounty.com, or give me an email, barbara.psre@gmail.com. That's the initials for Pacific Sotheby's Real Estate.
Barbara Sells Real Estate?
barbarasellsnorthcounty.com.
Got it.
Nice and simple, right?
I love that. Barbara Sells North. I'm adding that to our thread here. Okay, well, perfect. Thank you guys so much, and have a great day. Stay safe out there, and hope to have you both on well, Mike, you're going to be on the show again for sure, and Barbara, hope to have you back on as well.
Thank you so much. Stay safe.
All right, thanks, David.